he got to live
Yeah.
he gets to live a better life now.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way it is, and that's just how the training works. But yeah, I've had people harass me on flights, harass me. You know, I had an older woman. So we were on Southwest Airlines in
Mm.
America, and it's a sit wherever you want type thing.
Mm.
You know, you get boarded based on how much you paid on the ticket type deal,
Mm.
or like, you know,
Okay.
you typically buy for, you pay more to sit there and be put at the front type deal, so that way
Mm.
you could get the seat that you want in the front.
Yeah.
There's no first class.
Yeah.
So you know, so I get, you know, my company pays for like typically in the front, because we kind of need that extra leg room.
Mm.
So we kind of get put in the very, very front.
Yeah.
And so and my dog lays in between me. You know
Mm.
what I mean? He lays on the floor between me. So he you know, so we go and we get in there, and I see this lady. There's this thing that I always say. So you know, in Mario,
Mm.
you know, where the ghosts in Mario
Mm.
get closer to him when he turns around.
Yeah. Yeah.
That happens a lot with me with people that want to touch the dog.
Yeah.
So like I'll be looking at them, and I'll be like, just, you know, I'll be facing towards them, and I could see them kind of moving just
Mm.
slowly sideways, slowly. It's always like a couple or an older lady just like coming towards me, you know, like you know, when I turn around on them a little bit, and I'll see them move a lot faster and try to get closer to me, just work their way closer to me.
Yeah.
Second I turn around, they kind of just stop and just kind of like, they just try to inch their way over to me.
Yeah.
And so there was one lady that was doing that, and then she comes up to me while I was there, and I could see her moving closer to me, but luckily they had called the flight, the first set of people,
Yeah.
and so I got on there first. So I immediately got on there first. I could tell she was trying to chase after me essentially,
Mm.
and the flight attendant's like, "Oh, since we only have, this is a 200 passenger plane,
Mm.
and we only have 80 people on here. You can get the whole row to yourself. I'll put the reserve thing right here for you and your dog, and then you guys can just relax." You know, I
Mm.
think I was traveling like 3 or 4 days in a row. Went to 3 different states,
Yeah.
3 different flights within a 4 day period.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like I was so
Oh.
burned out, you know, and I was ready to just go to sleep. So I
Yeah.
get in there, and I immediately just like start knocking out. Like I'm like trying to go to bed. And so you know, me and Cooper are just kind of like, I'm in the middle seat, and Cooper's kind of on the left side of me, and then
Mm.
there's a lady going over to where Cooper's at,
Mm.
trying to move the reserve sign out and wanting to pet the dog. I'm like, excuse me, ma'am, like what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And she's like, I want to pet your dog. I said, well, you can't pet my dog.
Rude.
He's, you know, he's a canine. He's a canine. It says do
Yeah.
not pet on my thing. She's like, I don't understand why I can't pet your dog. And I said, because he's a working dog. You
Yeah.
can't touch him.
Yeah.
You can't pet the dog. Well, I want to sit right there. I said, they say reserve. I said, the flight attendant, reserve these seats. There's a million other seats out there.
Yeah.
This is Southwest. You can sit anywhere you want.
Oh no.
And I said,
Oh.
well, again, there's a million other seats. You could pick any other seat you want, but I want to sit next to him. I said, I'm sorry, but you can't touch even if you sat next to him, you can't
Yeah.
touch the dog either way. I don't understand why I just can't pet him. He's just a dog. It's just a dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, you know, she just comes to this really combatant. Finally, the flight attendant comes over, and she's like, "Ma'am, is everything okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I want to sit next to the dog, and he's not letting me."
Mm.
And she's just like, "Well, you know, I reserved these seats for him.
Mm.
She's like, you can't do that. This is Southwest. We can sit wherever we want. I paid for these tickets." And she goes on this whole
Oh
rant.
god.
And I'm like, you know what? I'll just move. I'll move. You know what I mean?
Mate.
She can sit here. I was like, me and Cooper will just sit in the back or something. I don't care. I don't want to. I just don't want to sit next to her.
Yeah.
And she's like, but I want to sit next to your dog. I have the right to sit next to your
Oh.
dog. And I'm just like, and she's like, "Ma'am, if here's you have two options. Either sit somewhere else, or
Yeah.
you could leave the flight."
Yeah.
So she gets all upset, like I mean, super upset.
Brother, you dealt with
You know,
a
I
Karen.
yeah, I guess I did. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
That's
So-
mad.
So she sits.
Oh.
So finally I sit at the end, because now I'm like trying to like space so everybody sees the reserve. So I'm sitting at the end
Yeah.
seat now, because I'm like, man, this lady's crazy. I just need to like watch just so I can block her before she comes in type deal. And like, of course, now I can't sleep, you know, because
Yeah.
now I have this psychopath sitting behind me. You know what I mean? And so she sits 2 seats behind me, because the seat behind me got filled up. So she sits on the end seat, like the aisle seat, right 2 seats behind me, and her piercing, I can feel her piercing eyes. So like, and now I can't even use the restroom. So I tell the flight attendant, I was like, "Ma'am, can you please watch my dog from that crazy lady while I use the restroom?" And she's like, yes, I'll watch the dog, don't worry. So she sits in my seat, and I go to the restroom, and I come in, and I just hear like this. Like just like staring at me. I'm like, okay, like, you know,
So-
like, she's just like staring at me, like just giving me the meanest look ever.
Jesus.
And I just ignore it. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
You
man,
know.
she's gonna be a problem when I leave. So
The entitlement on people, man.
so I'm like, man, how am I gonna get off this plane and avoid this lady? Now, mind you, I don't bring checked baggage, so I don't.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
fit everything in my bag because I'm always leaving,
Mm.
and I try to wash. I wash my clothes actually every time I get to the hotel.
Mm.
You know, if I need a reset, I normally have 2 to 3 uniforms with me. I roll them up military style,
Yeah.
and you know everything fits in this bag perfectly. Just carry on. So
Yeah.
I go over, grab my bag as soon as the flight land, grab my bag, and I just like take off as fast as I could running. I mean, again, she has to collect all her stuff, so she got put behind. She tried pushing forward on the people that were in front of her, but you know, obviously she couldn't because there was like a big dude that was behind me too, so she can't. So I'm like running, and I'm like looking, I'm like, man, she's gonna think I'm going to check baggage. If I go left, like I can avoid seeing her altogether. So I go left and hide behind this group of people that near these restrooms. You know what I mean? And I'm like hiding. You know what I mean? I'm like in this corner. There's like a little nook area, just hiding in this corner. I see this lady sprinting down the hall, looking for me.
Oh
like
my
literally
God.
just like looking like all over the place. And so finally, I kind of like ducked out, like I pet Cooper like on the floor, like behind all these people. You know, I'm like pet Cooper, like, hey, you're good, buddy, you're good. You know, it's like you know, just like you know, I'm just like, and she just like, and then she looked up, looked at checked baggage, and I'm assuming she thought I had checked baggage, so she just bolted over the baggage claim. You know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this crazy lady.
Get out
I
of there.
waited for a minute, and then I like ran over because I had to go get a rental. So I just went to the rental section, and you know, I got out safely. But you know, I was just like, I didn't want to even deal with that mess. Like, just,
That's
you know,
mad.
it's like. That's dude. People are crazy. People are crazy like that. That's like not the first time that's happened.
It's crazy to me that people just assume they have the right to like pet your dog or something.
That's what she told me.
That's crazy. I mean,